Live in chaos, burn in freedom. Nestor Avalos is one of the fastest progressing names in occult art imagery, known mainly for his work with extreme metal bands such as Rotting Christ, Blut aus Nor, Bloodbath, and Akkadian Throne, but also contributed illustrations for occult author Michael W. Ford, Edgar Kervil, and renowned publishing houses like Aeon Sophia Press and Anathema Publishing. 1. Hi Nestor, your official site greets the visitor with a bold statement, a gate to our spiritual chaos. So, let's start this interview chaotically. Your art speaks clearly of itself, and it is profoundly chaos-infused. Storms of monstrous strokes, blasphemous religion-mocking collages, and devilish figures reign supreme in an almost exclusive black-and-white universe. Do you use art as a gate to enter an altered state of consciousness or to drag others into your dark world? Hello, and thanks for this space. Actually, I think it's a little bit of both. For me, it's an open dialogue with the moving force behind my work, a demon, a compromise with my developed devotion towards the wild force of opposition and rebellion, the pact with Mephistopheles, signed by Faustus. The phenomenon that may be produced, concerning the viewer, will depend on the language to be decoded and interpreted by the audience, energy exchange between the two parts. However, it may work just like a door that has been opened to a new world. In the end, you only need a step to jump into the flames of the abyss. 2. There is this recurrent, central, triumphant, and majestic devilish figure in a number of your works. You even define your work as devil's art from Mexico. Do you feel a particular pride and power while doing such representations, which makes you consider yourself a Satanist? Of course. I represent this figure, this force, in a majestic apotheosis, because that's how I look to represent his essence, the essence of his magnific glory, a graphic manifestation of our own faith power, the force to conquer and rule our own destiny. Let's remember that the ugliness in art has taken us to generate the standard about our own aesthetic conception of the opposition, the demon. The beauty has always been related to the creators, the liar Yah, divine work. So, starting from this principle almost immediately, the opposite of the divine work is represented by the things that are considered grotesque, abject, monstrous, and decadent, the death, the underworld, the things beneath the earth, etc. These features are imputed, in an imminent way, to our great wielder of the dark light, the angel of the smokeless fire. 3. Do you feel close to any particular left-hand path current? Maybe you can name some favorite authors, or maybe your magic path is based only upon pure experience. Not really. I've decided to create a totally personal current based on my own theoretical and empirical knowledge, developed through years of study, although you can always discover new things to enlarge your panorama. This system is based on the teachings of satanic figures that represent the opposition against the demiurge, like Satan, Set, and Iblis, the Promethean forces, such as Lucifer/Satan Nahash, and the chthonic figures Saturn, San La Muerte, Tezcatlipoca, Micantlechuhtli, La Santa Muerte, Hades, etc. These forces have developed my own conscience about their teachings, which deeply resound with me, physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. My favorite authors are Johannes Nephistos, N.A.A. 218, Craig Williams, David Beth, Shani Oaths, Gilles de Laval, Matthew Whiteman, Umberto Maggi, Christoph Koff-Eierfos, Andrew D. Chumbley, Nikolai de Matos Frisfold, Mark Allen Smith, Austin Osman Spare, Michael W. Ford, Gabriel McCory, Richard Gavin, Asenath Mason, Jeremy Christner, Office Christos, EEA Coding, etc. 4. You have managed to create a distinctive style, recognizable among other artists. The choice of religious digital manipulation in black and white makes it quite unique. Was this a conscious decision or a natural phenomenon? It started unconsciously, as a tribute to the extreme metal band covers that were made in black and white. This tribute joined my development in the sinister path, the acquired knowledge, and the artistical technique. It all developed together, creating a symbiosis, becoming my way to pray, paraphrasing the American artist, Vincent Costiglia. This monochromia acquired a deeper sense when I deciphered and interpreted the phenomenon as the representation of the battle between the light and the shadows. The concept behind the use and intervention of religious figures is that when you desecrate this considered holy art, it becomes sacred for me. It doesn't lose its essence as sacred art, understanding that the sacred art goal is to worship the sacred. The ugliness caused by my manipulation re-signifies these images, making them sacred under my own terms and beliefs, spiritual practices of what I consider sacred. 5. Does somebody busy and deeply involved in the occult manage to have social or profane life? What is the place of family and friends in the life of the artist? They are really important as if they were attached to me, maybe because I'm from a Latin American country where these values and customs are highly regarded as a part of the culture. I believe that you can find a balance between the facets that compound a person. This can be achieved by inflection exercises, meditation, and rituals that allow us to extend our conscience, in order to give real importance to each one of these facets that conform and define us. Developing a constant discipline between our personal dimensions is the key to achieving the balance between the profane and the spiritual world. 6. Mexico is a peculiar country where a strong Catholic religious presence overlaps with the local ancestral beliefs and rural magic. At least from an external point of view, people appear to be very emotionally engaged in spirituality. I totally agree. There has always been a profound connection between the spiritual world and magic and witchcraft. This has fomented a great adoption of different spiritual and religious practices inside the country, although it's not beneficial. A great amount of this inclination to use or join this world is the satisfaction of mundane and simple needs. Getting rid of their own responsibility for their own actions, delegating their freedom, and creating capacity and autonomy to superior beings or factors, just like the fraudulent characters that sell themselves as mediums between the earthly and the superior plane, abandoning the search for being, the integrity and the spiritual growth. But let's not forget that it's the same everywhere. There's always the mass that distorts these practices, and there are also seeds that germinate even in the aridest soils. 7. Do you think that animal or human sacrifice drugs and sex can transcend consciousness and have a positive role in self-developing? Would you go that far beyond the gate of chaos? Not really. All these practices are symbolical acts or symbols per se. Even some of them were resumed or created by the sheep's imaginative minds from the monotheist religions in order to demonize or justify their hate towards the outsiders, the rebels, the pagans, those who fiercely defended their freedom. I even have my own conservative points about substance abuse. I believe that having a strong and healthy body is necessary to achieve mental, emotional, and spiritual harmony. I am for staying in a lucid state of conscience. It's really important to make decisions from a critical and analytical point of view, being aware of our own existence as actions. If you need any given substance or stimulus, it would be like depending on a God that makes your decisions under his will, not yours. Living submitted to someone else's power. The ritual consumption, where you try to alter your conscience in order to go into a trance, is interesting to explore circumstantially, but not as a requirement for the divine work of the arts. The blood acts, I believe, will depend on your trend. I reject the human sacrifices, for example the Quimbada, Palo, Santeria, and some other kinds of ancestral witchcraft essentially need this practice. In these cases, the bloodshed is somehow justified as long as it is made with great devotion and respect for the worshipped entity and the sacrificed creature. The word sacrifice is the key. It must be something that pains us, an affliction, an act that implies a physical and mental effort for destroying or delivering something that is important or sacred to us. It's an act of generosity in communion with the superior force. If the deed is done arrogantly to claim superiority above the sacrifice, it becomes meaningless. Finally, our actions will be the key to a world of consequences and results, the harvest of our decisions. Our reality is the result of our actions, what we create with our mind, our words, and our hands. Therein resides our true divinity. 8. Feel free to end this interview with the words of your choice. Neglect the established laws and create your own reality. Live in chaos, burn in freedom.